Hello and welcome back to the Ambassadors of Gaming. I'm one in your army of hosts, Ambassador Michael, and today I will be narrating yet again for Darrell. He has some new impressions he would like to bestow upon you, and as such, it is my duty to relay his wisdom. So let us just go right into what Darrell needs to tell you. The next game in the Ghost Recon franchise is here, and Breakpoint is a completely different feel to what we received with Wildlands. Like Wildlands, Breakpoint is a military shooter in a large open world, which will be playable solo, although unlike Wildlands where you had 3 AI teammates, Ubisoft are implementing this feature in the future, or online with up to 4-player co-op. After your helicopter is shot down on the island of Aurora, you start off the game injured with no support and are hunted down by a military group known as the Wolves, who are led by an ex-ghost gone rogue called Cole Walker, played by John Bernthal, famous for his role as Shane in The Walking Dead and Frank Castle in The Punisher. You are lost on the island and need to fight back to survive. Unlike Wildlands, the setting of Aurora in Breakpoint is fictional, so it allowed more of a creative license to the island. Also, due to the fictional setting, Ubisoft Paris could create an in-depth history for the arpeggio of Aurora. It was mostly procedurally generated, with some of it built from the ground up, and using a fictional chain of islands allowed the game to have much more post-launch content and support. Visually, it's a treat. The environment looks vibrant and full of depth in terms of vegetation and wildlife present throughout. The animation is crisp, with new takedowns added with melee and the ability to go prone, and for example, camouflage yourself in a muddy track by covering yourself to blend in. This leads into the features for those familiar with Wildlands, who can suffer injuries which affect movement and aim, examples being leaving you limping badly. They also implemented the use of a shelter known as a BioVox, as well as a fast travel point system that can be used to reconfigure your gear, or where you can heal your injuries, or how you call in your own vehicles. Enemy types in Wildlands weren't hugely varied, with your opposition from either Unidad to the factions of the Santa Blanca drug cartel, but the variety of threat wasn't too in-depth. Breakpoint, however, mixes that up. We get standard soldiers, heavy soldiers, various types of drones, and of course the Wolves, who, like Walker, are ex-ghosts, meaning the level of training is on par with skills possessed and the equipment that you also have, so they can mirror you quite well. Enemies are also more alert to your drones. Missing shots when taking out a trio of enemies can lead to enforcements, such as calling in helicopters, things like that. When Ubisoft launched Assassin's Creed Odyssey, they had touched on dialogue branch trees, which is implemented in Breakpoint. But at its early stage, it's hard to tell if your conversation choice will have an impact on how a mission will play out. Enemies in Wildlands drop a weapon, where here in Breakpoint, they look more like a looter-shooter, where enemies will drop tiered weapons, and there are also lots of chests around the map where new gear can also be unlocked. Raids will be added in the post-launch content, and PvP is going to be present here from day one. Breakpoint has a class progression system and offers 4 classes which you can change between at a BioVox, and each class has its own progression tree, so it allows for more freedom on how you want to play the game. At launch, I mentioned that there were no AI teammates. When announced that they had said there were no AI teammates, but backtracked and announced that the return of them would appear at E3. It would also appear that Ubisoft were rebuilding the AI teammates from the ground up, as they said on the game's website. Quote, "We're still working on the AI teammate implementation, and we'll have more to share with you later in year 1. Keep an eye out for updates along the way," end quote. Well, how does this add up when we play the game? Well, rather well. The game feels smoother than Wildlands did, which I played for over 200 hours, and experienced no issues with that. Vehicles may not be as smooth, but that could be down to time spent in them. Wildlands, I usually used a helicopter, and the nature of Aurora means ground travel is likely to be the best way to go here. Regardless, I have found Breakpoint to be a better game to play than Wildlands, and I have also played this in the alpha stage with a technical test and 2 beta tests, and all throughout, it was not a struggle to play at all. The same is said of the full game. The way characters move is smoother and better. Interactions with environments, such as swimming and wading in water and going prone. Would I recommend this game? Well, simply put, I'll ask, did you like Wildlands, and did you enjoy The Division and its sequel? If you do, then I have no hesitation in saying I recommend this. If you want a stealth game where it adds something different, much more survival focused, and more of an MMO feel, then I fully recommend it. They also have revealed some of the post-launch content with the first episode of content called Operation Greenstone, where the main content is a raid titled Project Titan, taking place on an active volcano. Operation Greenstone will also feature a special event similar to Wildlands Predator content, featuring the Terminator, which is focusing on a time-traveling T-800, which traveled to Aurora from the future and is set to threaten the people on the island. So based on my experience and the support behind the game and the content to come, then once again, yes, I do recommend it. The co-op aspect runs really well with a stable connection with your friends. Briefly at times in co-op I was unable to see distance to the waypoint and tag on drones, but it didn't ruin the game and I can't explain what caused it. So there you have it, folks. Darrell has given you his thoughts and his impressions, everything he thinks about this new Ghost Recon. Thankfully, Darrell was able to get the Ultimate Edition due to his love of Wildlands, and so we have the impressions here for you on the regular edition's launch day. So please, if you've picked it up, if you've decided to pick up the Ultimate Edition, let us know how you're feeling, whether or not you have any interest in the game, if you haven't purchased it, and whether or not this may lead you to go and do so. In the meantime, we are the Ambassadors of Gaming. I am Ambassador Michael. And as always, I'll leave you with the screenshot bonus round. Goodbye, friends.